Yes, and we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Apologies for being late. Um, so today's guest is Mr. Trust. I'm used to calling him Trust. So I met Trust. That was 2017, right? Women in Science Day at the Institute of Technology, and he gave a presentation on personal development. So I was actually telling some of my fellow workmates, you gave a presentation that actually changed my life. They were like, eh? I was like, you gave a presentation on something that I never really knew about. For me, Facebook, Instagram, it was more about posting pictures. I never saw it as a marketing tool or as a branding tool. So I was actually explaining it to them, believe it or not, the whole idea of social media changed in 2017. So welcome to today's session. It's mainly on personal branding.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So,
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So just to start, I'll say my definition of personal branding, what I think personal branding is. To me, I feel like personal branding is how people perceive me. When they hear the name Neditanga, the first thing that comes to their mind, to me, that's how I'm branded. So maybe some may know me as someone who's very loud. Some may know me as someone who's into youth empowerment. So for me, I feel like that's personal branding in short. So since I've invited you today, you're the expert in this topic, you're the teacher. So I'll give you the platform to explain what is personal branding.
Okay, I think your definition is accurate. When a brand basically is what comes to people's mind when the name is mentioned or when the image is shown, that's basically what's a brand. I like keeping things in conversational way and in simple way, and not really to use the book definitions, but something that people can understand and relate to. So that's a brand. When you see this picture, what comes to your mind and whatever. So when it comes to personal branding, every name and every person that you know has a brand. And when that name is mentioned, there are things that come to your mind. So if we mention Barack Obama, something comes to your mind. If we mention Kapupi, something comes to your mind. Then there are also a group of people, when their names are mentioned, nothing comes to your mind because they are not known for anything, or you probably don't know them for anything. So my concern is not for maybe people who are wrongly branded, but my concern is mostly for people who claim that they have a direction they want to take, but their branding is going exactly the wrong direction, or there is no branding at all. Right. So please, yeah, you can go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask, what do you mean by when you say their branding is going the wrong way?
If you want to be let's say you want to be a parliamentarian one day, or you want to be a president one day, there is a trail that you need to build from where you are now towards that direction. And you need to build that branding. Have you seen scenarios where a well-branded musician tries to run for presidents in different countries and they fail dismally? Meanwhile, when they do a live show for their music, a lot of people attend. And that's brands at work. So if you have a direction you want to take, you have to make sure that all your activities, and not all, but your activities are not against what you're trying to build. Let's say somebody wants to be a top executive as a lady. There is a direction and there is things that you need to set in motion now concerning how you are perceived and how people know you. so that when it comes to recommendations and when it comes to people searching for your profile and what they see online, it really helps you to be there in that place of being an executive woman who is respectable. Because there are profiles that when you build, you won't be able to undo at a point. That's what I'm trying to say. So brands have direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You were still explaining before I asked the question, so maybe you may just continue on the point that you're explaining.
All right. So the idea is that you, as a person, you have to have a presence. You have to have an identity online, and that identity is important for the continuity of what you're trying to do. So I guess before we go into maybe the how and the things that you need to do, one of the things people need to define is what, who am I now, and what do I want to be, right? And then that identification of a goal of where we want to end up in is very important if we are going to achieve anything of substance. And why? Because if you want to be a global model like Miss World, Miss something, there are things that you have to start doing now, and there are things that you have to start arranging now towards that direction. If you're trying to be the CEO of World Bank at a point, or the chairman of World Bank at a point, there are things that you have to start doing now towards that direction. So that is what is branding. So we have, for example, a lot of university students. They've got very bright career prospects and things that they're dreaming of becoming. But when it comes to their branding, it is none of those things can be seen from where they are. It's one of my funniest experiences when people are looking for jobs. When you Google them for what they say they want to become, I'm good at that, I'm good at that. When you Google them, what you see and what they're claiming on their CV is like North and South. And sometimes people just don't make it to the interview based on that.
Okay. So then how then do someone like brand themselves? Maybe moving on to that point.
All right. I have to go off just for 1 minute to fix something. Then I'll be back. I'll come back and answer just for 1 minute. All right.
It's all right.
Okay. All right, sorry, I'm back. My connection was running out of power and I was just going to disappear. So I thought I should be connected. All right. So how does somebody get branded? So the first step is what we just said, which is define where you want to go, define what you want to become. And at this point, there shouldn't be any limitation regarding your past, your history, what you're capable and what you're not capable of. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about where you want to be. I like to put it this way: if you were God, who would you make of yourself? You know, and then it's like up there. You know, definitely in whatever direction. So starting from there, you then start building towards us. So the first step is having that identified. So personally, I actually had a big crisis answering that question because I've got a lot of things that I want to become. And there are many people like that. For example, I'm a digital person, so I want to be known as a digital whatever in the continent, in Africa and in the world, you know. And the other side is that I'm a pastor. So I also want to be known as a pastor and I want to go far with that. So having these two things, search engine optimization and Matthew 4:6 in the same line was kind of a big fight for me because these two things are important, But who is Trust? Is he a pastor or is he a digital marketer? That kind of question. So it was really a fight. And how I ended up doing it was that I ended up separating my social media handles into different groups, where my Facebook, for example, is personal, and I kind of mix the two there. And I do have a lot of friends who are connected to me because of the digital. I've got a lot of people who are connected to me because of my pastor side of things. So my posts have different likes depending on which side it's going. But also, just to say, I rarely have very personal posts on social media. Rarely. So a lot of my posts are for a reason. I really have like, well, I was at Midwest today. Rarely. Why? Because I think I have enough social life to where I am, and there's no need for me to say a lot of things to the world. That's what I think. And also I've got a lot of people looking at me for so many different reasons, and I don't want to inform people on things that they don't know. They shouldn't be knowing. So I really have a very personal post on my social media on all accounts. So that's what happened. Then I decided to use my LinkedIn for professional things. So my LinkedIn is really digital marketing all the way to Africa. Then I have created this different page on Facebook where I'm 100% a pastor and things like that. So that's how I solved it. But now, if you want to be branded, the first thing is an introduction. You have to introduce yourself. So if you let's say somebody's at uni and they're doing let's say they're studying pharmacy and they are trying to do personal branding for their future prospects and everything. So you say, yeah, my name is this. I'm a what do you call it? I'm a future pharmacist or whatever, upcoming pharmacist, whatever term you have to use. One thing also is that in your introductions, you have to be honest in the sense that if you are not something, you are not. If you're still in medical school, you're not a doctor. So you shouldn't say you are, because when people find out that you are not, it destroys your brand instead of building it up. So if you are learning digital marketing and you say a digital strategist, people bring big questions which you fail to answer satisfactorily, and then it brings you down, right? So you introduce yourself well regarding the direction you want to take. So, hi, my name is Trust. I am an aspiring global digital marketer who is doing this and that and that and that. Hi, my name is this. I am that. If you are a digital marketer, then you say you are a digital marketer. If you are a pharmacist, you say a pharmacist. And there's no need for you to have fake humility there. There are people who have fake humility who will say, hi, my name is Nedi. I'm just trying to be an engineer. That is fake humility, because you're already an engineer. You just have to say that you are. And people take you as you say. In fact, people deal with you the way you present yourself. So introduce yourself confidently regarding where you are and where you are going and what you hope to achieve. So that's the first thing. So in most of us, especially people who early in their career with a Christian background, they try to be humble in this introduction, but it's a mistake. There's nothing wrong to say, hi, my name is this. I'm a high school teacher with mathematics, and I've been teaching mathematics for the past 15 years. So, wow. So how did you become a math teacher, and what's your password? Then the conversation starts from there going forward. If somebody says, hi, my name is this, I'm a sports coach. I've been coaching sports at different schools for the past 3 years. Says, wow, which school have you been to? So I've been here. The conversation takes on from your introduction to the future. So if your introduction does not include what you want people to know you for, then the conversation is not going to happen around that. So somebody says, hi, my name is Trust, I'm a family man. Then people are going to ask, how many kids do you have? If I say, hi, my name is Trust, I'm a digital marketer, I say, wow, so who have you been digital marketing? Who have you been serving as a digital marketer? Who have you done the marketing for? So the conversation sets off from your introduction going forward. And if you're talking to the right people who are interested in what you're saying, the conversation is as warm as how fit your introduction is to the target people. So that's the first step. You set your direction, then you introduce yourself. So on every social platform, for example, there is an about section where you introduce yourself. So you write there, introduce yourself properly in the direction you want to take. Then after introduction, the next step is you have to say sense. You have to be sense. You have to say things that make sense in your space and in your industry. All right. So social media is full of people who were kind of trying to make a show, but most of them don't bring value. And that's a huge differentiation. So instead of making a show, like you said in the introduction, where you thought that this thing is just for you to post pictures, and that's maybe allow me to call that maybe just having a show that you've got a new hairstyle now, you're now an expert in makeup, things are working in your life, you're having dinner at Mikio's, and this just a lot of showing things. Now I'm saying bring value. If you want to be well branded, bring value. And what do I mean by value? In the direction you want to take, you want to be a mining engineer, you have to talk about that and say sense along those lines. Now, I'm not saying that all your posts should be like work, but there should be a resemblance. There should be a sign that this person is an engineer. For example, you may not be talking about chemical engineering in every post with chemical formulas on your social post, but you could be wearing your helmet, you could be wearing your PPE and post your showing your nice hairstyle flowing out of a helmet, and it shows that this is a construction engineer, or just your selfies at a construction site with people working in the background. It just shows that this is what you do and this is what you're up for. If you then have anything that is related to that, then you also have to create content of your own. And do you know why most people struggle with content creation? It's confidence. People are not confident with what they know. And I want to just tell you this, Nedi, that there's a lot of things that you know that I don't know. And if you were going to share that, I would really think you are very smart. Even though some of these things you knew them maybe 10 years ago and they are nothing to you. But to me, who is a total novice, I will really appreciate it. And I'll say, just like you say that the presentation I made back then changed your life. I don't remember saying anything special. What I remember telling you was that you're going to regret giving me a short time to talk.
Yes, but, I remember.
It wasn't anything that I spent the night before researching or trying to put these together. It was just things I knew, you know, and I just came to share this because it wasn't anything special to me per se. But content creation is you have to say what you know, because there are people who don't know what you know at that level. That's one. Number two is that you have to be confident with writing things. You learn how to write, no matter what school you went, whether engineering school or BB or BA, whatever arts subject, you learn how to write at a point. So if you want to say that I'm a science person, I can't write, it's okay. The science people who can write will do better than those who can write. There was a research which I'm sure I have made before, which was talking about engineers, and it was saying the engineers who could communicate and relate with others better were the most paid, because they could rise up to senior positions and stuff. So the thing to do with saying sense and communicating sense has to do with content creation, writing, doing videos, even being able to take good pictures. It's all content, and you have to learn it. In this current age, you have to learn all the things you need to progress with your career. So learn how to write articles which are 55 words, like a tweet, and then move on and write one paragraph. Your first one is going to be damn boring. It's going to be too bad. But after 6 to 6 months of writing, people will say, I like your writing style, you know, because it just comes with skills. You don't need to be an arts person to write. And you don't need to go to photography school to take nice pictures. If you watch one YouTube video on how to take pictures, you can become an expert. And of course, with practice and a lot of actions. So be confident and start talking. And that's how you build a brand. And then I don't know if I can move on to the next step, or you want to say something.
I want to say something.
Please.
You just reminded me of one session that I had with one of my my lecturers. He was talking about engineers. He was like comparing the engineering students to the accounting students and the art students. So I was saying that what makes an art student or a commercial student rise, it's one, they are very confident. Two, they've got a social life. So he was mainly highlighting on what you're saying. The confidence is what takes you places. So yes, you might be an engineer, but if you're not confident enough with what you know, then you will not be recognized and you not go anyway.
Makes sense. And I'll add one thing to that. My technical fields, and I'm like you, by the way. My background is computer science. So geeks and all programmers and all these kind of people, they are my buddies. It's not like I don't like them. That's why I'm taking this way. So one of the challenges that we have as technical people is inability to communicate. So communication is successful when it has been understood. I'm sure you've heard police talking over their radio, saying a lot of gibberish, which doesn't make sense. To us, they may be calling other policemen to come and beat you. And you, because you don't get what they are saying, you still stand in that place until they arrive and they beat and they deal with you. Do you understand? And even though the communication has gone on, it hasn't been successful if it hasn't been understood. So if you are an engineering student, you have to learn to communicate your things with ordinary people. Explain complex things in simple language so that everybody can get it and everybody will appreciate your value because they understood what you said. If you come and you bring in a string of complications, people say, wow, this one is learned. But the truth is they didn't get what you said. It affects from when they become entrepreneurs, it affects their names of their products. You can see a product that has been named by a pharmacist and one that has been named by a marketing person. Because one communicates, the other one is just a lot of complicated names. Maybe based on the formulas that were used to create the drug or something. It doesn't, you can't think of a disease when you see this medicine. I don't know if I'm making sense. So communicate. If your job is, let's say, quantity surveying, you can tell us what we need to get for this construction to be successful. Instead of saying that we do BOQ, these complicated things, just say, okay, I can help you estimate what your budget is for any construction project. So really? So how do you do that? I've got this plan. Immediately, a novice understands what is. You didn't use all these complicated terms. You just say, I can help you make your budget. And that's exactly what you do in simple terms. Even though, so branding also is confusing to people because sometimes people think branding is complication or being so smart and so special. But in my opinion, branding is simplicity and being understood by the people you're targeting. And when they understand you, they hire you and they go with you. There's no need to read all those old speeches that people used to have with nine words which you don't understand in one sentence. It's a show. It's not communicating and it's not achieving anything. So it's one of the challenges that comes with technical people. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you. And you also mentioned that money comes from ordinary people, like the arts people and the commercial people, like they're willing investors. So if you're given an opportunity to make a presentation and you present to them in jargon terms, they will not understand what you're talking about, and you will miss an opportunity of a lifetime. Nela?
Yeah. So yeah, if you make your presentation in jargon and they don't get you, then they are not going to go with your quotations. I remember one presentation I did, I think last year at a big company in Zimbabwe. So said when we got into the boardroom, everybody was there, and we took out our slide. This is for quite a high value project, and my slide had about 4 slides. So I said, okay, guys, this is what you said you want. This is your request. The second slide you had, this is what we are going to do about it. And this is how we propose it's done. The third slide had why we think we are good at it. Then the last slide had the price. And one of the guys says, "This is the only meeting I get in that I understood everything. All these people are just shouting technical things and which they don't understand." So they had brought in their technical people. And then the technical people would ask a very complicated question. Things are server, this, how are you going to do this? Then I'll say, okay, for the sake of everybody in the meeting who don't probably understand this question, what this guy is asking about this and this and this in simple terms. And then after that, I'll answer the question. And everybody says, makes sense, makes sense. So communicating and being understood, critical if you're going to get a yes, including in interviews. Most people hire people to do things they are not smart at. They are not good at. The person is hiring you to do digital marketing. They know they need it, but they don't understand it. So if you come in the meeting, bombard them and confuse them, they are even afraid that you are going to take them in the wrong direction. But if you are clear, you make them comfortable. You make them feel that you know what you're saying and you're going to do it because you can explain it better. They're comfortable and they relax and they want to go with you. But if you come and confuse them and be complicated, then they can't even trust you because they don't know even the terms that you are mentioning, whether they are the valid ones or they are trying to bamboozle them. So it's a critical clarity is very important. Yeah.
Then the last point, then you continue with what you were talking about. You talked about how you don't share your personal life with everyone. So I remember when you made the presentation, that was 2017, you were talking about why do you post about pizza? Anyone can afford pizza. So you also talked about your experience with Google. I don't know if I got that correct. How you got employed with Google. So maybe you can just, in short, talk about this experience. I just think it's important that my viewers get to hear your story about the power of personal branding on social media.
All right. So what happened is when I started to do the Google Digital Skills training in 2017, what I did was each time I go out to do a training, I would take pictures and post them on LinkedIn and post them on Twitter and post them on my Facebook about I was here, I was doing this, and then a lot of people began to be connected and talking and all that. So one of the things that happened was that on LinkedIn, which is personally my primary platform for digital marketing and for my career, I noticed that I started to get inboxes of people asking questions. Can you come here? Can you do this? And some opportunities to do trainings came through that platform. But there's one special one which came through. I noticed that on my viewed, LinkedIn shows you the number of people who have viewed, the people who have viewed your profile. So I noticed some very prominent lady who has seen my profile. She was then, I think she's left now. She was then the Africa CEO for Junior Achievers. So she looked at my profile, and then when I saw that she looked at my profile, I also and she had sent like a connection request. So I accepted the connection request and I sent her a message. Then we had a chat, and then the end story of this is that she connected me with the Zimbabwean CEO of Junior Achievers, and we went to have a meeting. We arranged, and by the end of the time, I think they had more than 8,000 students trained in schools with digital skills training. So this one or two posts which she saw really created a huge door for so many thousands of Zimbabwean young people to be trained with digital skills training through Junior Achievement. And through the same thing, also those posts I was making, I managed to secure my first remote job in the UK. And up until now, we still have that business and that company going. It actually polished a lot of things in terms of my personal skills when I started work in the UK and in the US. A lot of other opportunities came through. So personal branding really works. And these people will not call me to talk about soccer or anything because I was talking about digital marketing. They will call me exactly for that. And it worked for me.
Thank you so much. I hope my viewers have heard that. It's a story that actually changed my life. I think starting from 2017, if you actually go on my home, I usually share about women empowerment, youth empowerment, then recently makeup. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I was now more sensitive towards what I share on social media, since 2017. So I'm very conscious about what I share, because I know with everything that I share, there's a certain message that it sends to people, and I would want opportunities to come from that as well.
Definitely, definitely. I'm sure you have your own stories about how you have been invited to this conference, how you have been invited to doing this show that talks about this and that, and it brings you the networking you need in a specific way and to move forward. All right. So now I'm supposed to share the next way to, what do you call it, to build your brand. So the next thing to build your brand is you have to create a portfolio. You have to have a proof of what you say you do. So there is also a lot of people who talk about things that they can't do and things that they don't do. So you have to back up your profile and your talking with a portfolio, or the things that you can do and can deliver on. So this becomes important, especially when it comes to a career, where if you say that you're an accountant, you specialize in taxation and all that, you have to have people that you are actually doing this for. And so that if people then ask you, so where have you done this? You do have references and places where you can refer them to, and those things can be verified. So maybe the question comes, well, I'm just starting out. You might have to volunteer to have a portfolio. I know that a lot of entrepreneurs have been manipulated by smart people who come and say, if you do this for me, you're gonna create a profile, and I'm gonna link it to a lot of big people. If the moment somebody talks like that, I switch off. The reason is not because what they are saying is not true, but they are using this in a manipulative way. I don't like it personally. If I'm trying to build my profile, it should be my own initiative to do something for free or for little to build my profile. Not that a client should come and tell me that I'm supposed to do this one for free so that my profile will be big. I find it very manipulative. That's what I think. Everyone is free to have an opinion, I guess. So that's what I think. So, but you need a profile. So if you struggle to find customers to build your profile, then you might be doing it for your cousins or your sisters, or even for free. For those of us who are in development or even doing house plans, you hear that someone has bought a stand. Just go and say, what type of house do you want? Let's draw it together. I can do this for you. You draw the plans with them, with their dream house. They are successful as a present for them buying a stand. They go to council, they are approved. You have a profile. You have a profile. You have a portfolio, I mean. So you have to find smart ways of getting started and having that proof, which helps you. You meet sometimes people who don't ask all these questions. They just, when you say you do this, they just believe and they set you off. And there's a lady who did that to me many years when I was starting when I was starting Camlock, the digital marketing company. I just put my advert on Facebook, and this lady says, "Hi, I saw your advert. Can we meet in town? I want to pay now." And we met in town and she paid and she gave me the money. My heart was beating because this was my first client, and this person, they don't know me. And what if I'm going to mess up? So I was really cautious. I was supposed to make an online payment. I went to the bank, deposited that money, made the payment online, and she was very happy. But I had a reference after that. So you may meet people who just trust you like that and get going. But most of the times, a lot of people, especially the bigger the deals, they will really be looking for your portfolio. And so in portfolio, you build it by sometimes doing free things, which is why I still do free events. I still do free training. And it's some unrelated things start happening as you do these very visible things for free. And it's part of personal branding, and it's working for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that is what is called having a portfolio, right? And the next thing that, which is very hard, is that people also have to have good experiences when they're dealing with you. The biggest opportunity with serving a client is not their invoice, but is what they are going to say after the experience with you. The biggest opportunity with the client is not that money that they are sending through, but what they're going to talk about after. And that can be also for different reasons. But as much as possible, try and treat people very nicely. Some of the people that I met, like in 2011, when I was getting started in my career, bringing high value deals to me today after 9, 10 years of knowing Trust as somebody who is into digital stuff. So you don't want to treat people like they are nothing because they are paying you $20 today. Those people, in fact, take it this way. Every generation has a season of prominence, right? Your classmates right now, Nedi, none of them is a general manager of any company. None of them is a CEO of anything. If they're a CEO, they started the business and they are not millionaires as yet. But there's a time when your classmates become directors of every company you know, from high school to college to whatever, everywhere. When you turn on a TV, you see people you know all over the place. So by that time, when people move into this place of high prominence, you should have had a lot of references and a lot of connections who believe you are good at what you do, who just then start giving you high value clients. So sometimes I meet entrepreneurs, somebody's 21 and they're frustrated that they are not getting big deals. And the real issue is not that they are not good at what they do. The real issue is that they don't have a network which has access to big deals. So my point is that give people a good experience, even though the value they're bringing today is low, so that when those people have got a higher capacity, they can connect to bigger deals, which are of higher value. So you won't believe that one of my biggest projects I ever did, I was referred by somebody that I gave a free training on how to do Google Ads. The person called me and said, hey, I want to learn how to do Google Ads. It's important for my work. These people are threatening to fire me if I don't do it. I just felt, well, how many are you? So I'm just one person. So, okay, let's meet at this restaurant. I'll show you how it's done. So they say, how much do you want? And I say, $25. And my idea was I was going to use that money to buy food and drinks while we are doing the training. When we are done, we go. It was supposed to be 120. So I said $25 because I was going to buy drinks and food with that money. So the person came. So they about 3 or 4 hours before the appointment, the person called me, say, hi, I made a mistake. So what's wrong? So I just shared this with my boss, and my boss says, bring that guy here. Let's all of us have training. So they took me to a big company, did a training at $25 per person instead of $120 per person. And now there were about 12 or so people. I was so disappointed because I should have made a killing from this company. They have money. How can I charge them $25? But you know what? From that referral that got me inside, I've made way, way more money than the big invoice that I wanted to make in the first time. So give people a good experience. You never know where they will take you to. It's difficult to be hungry and nice at the same time. That's the fight of the entrepreneur. You are hungry, you are under pressure, you need to pay for this, and then you're supposed to be nice, you're supposed to be kind to people. But that's normal in this entrepreneurial journey. But be kind, and you never know who you're being kind to today or tomorrow, who they'll become. Yeah.
You actually reminded me of a few incidents that actually happened to me. I think that was last year and this year. So I've worked with this guy, once did a project together. I do this thing for young people and stuff. So since last year, he's been referring people to me. So if someone is looking for a young lady to do anything that is science related, he just gives them my number. So recently I've had 2 interviews that he referred 2 people to me. And, it's like something like, so this guy, he continues to refer people to me, but the power of networking. Yeah. So it only took one experience because we only worked together once. Then from there, it's been referring me to different people because he always mentions, I always see your passion in these things that you post on Facebook, things that you do on WhatsApp, and things that you do for other people. So it's like, I think this is also an opportunity for you to grow as well.
Yeah. So imagine you have 4 of those people who are referring people at that rate. What it means is that at a point you start to say, well, I can't do an interview on that date. Can we move it to the other because I'm double booked and stuff? And that's growing. That's growing. So if you then meet somebody who, for example, says, I'm really good at this, but just that people don't notice my talent. People don't promote, Africans don't promote each other. Yeah, there could be some truth in that, but part of it is that people may not be having a good experience with you. And very few people are able to admit that people are not having a good experience with me without getting depressed and without having, what we call them, low self-esteem episodes. One of the things that you should fight to have in your lifetime is the ability to see your own mistakes and your errors and improve without somebody telling you from outside. If somebody thinks that the way you talk, I went on TV one morning on ZTV and I was talking and talking. Suddenly I became too relaxed and I took out, you know how I'm talking like this and they're not seeing my hands. I took out my hands and that's how I talk normally. So my hand will be crossing my face and this and this. So somebody saw the interview and said, Trust, you don't wave your hands like that on TV. And it's true. And as you can see, if you can watch all this video, you see that you don't see my hands anymore because it is true that my hands were closing my face. And I had to improve on that if I'm going to do a lot of video interviews and stuff. So learn things, you know, and see if it in yourself. I used to listen to after an interview like this, I'll take the audio and listen and say, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done that. I'm repeating myself too much. This and this and this is too much. And over there, I listened to a course. I was doing online courses. I listened to a course that I recorded in 2016, towards the end of 2016. I was terrible. But a lot of things have changed because I've been listening to myself and improving without being depressed. So, well, me, I grew up in the rural areas. Well, me, I'm not good. My English is terrible. Without getting depressed, learn things, keep improving, and notice the bad things that you're doing or the difference between you and somebody who is an expert and keep polishing it. That's what gives your customers good experience. And as the experience is improving, you will be getting better referrals. I used to be terrible with telephone conversations. Everybody who calls and say, hey, hello, Diane, good day. About the customer who is calling. So you learn, I'm misbehaving on the phone. How do you have a proper phone call? I Googled how to have a sales conversation on the phone. Found out a few scripts and this, practice a bit. With time, it becomes natural. You get better. But so if you have a bad experience with one customer, instead of saying, these people are stingy, they don't want to pay high value invoices, I don't care, they can go ahead. Find out what went wrong. Maybe you gave an invoice and never gave a room for negotiation. Maybe you sent your CV and it was too pompous and these people felt that you were too much for them. There are people who go to interviews overdressed and they don't get the job for that, because they never did an assessment of how did the people at the company dress, and they miss it. So improve and learn and let's get better. That's how people have a bad experience with you. Definitely. I've had people with a bad experience with me. But my point is, one bad experience should not give birth to 15 others. Improve them and let's reduce the bad experiences and things will get better.
True. You know, I think actually I'm learning one of the most difficult things is listening to like these lives, like when I'm done and like actually replaying them. I find it very difficult.
A lot of people are like that. I'm not like that. I listen, and sometimes if you may not be able to do it immediately because you'll be so judgmental of yourself, but you might do it a few days later. And sometimes, depending on what I'm talking about, I actually find a lot of sense in what I'm saying, to a point where I've got some old interviews which are recorded, which I've started to translate, to sort of transcribe and making them into articles. Because the stuff was really good. So I said, wow, I should have just edited this one and that one. It was really cool. But it makes sense for me. And so just like any new skill, the more you do it, the better you become. So if you start listening as a habit, you force yourself until at a point you can do it. Just like starting to write articles, it will be hard. But the more you do it, you get better. And you actually become an improved version of yourself as you listen to yourself and fix your things, correct your things, and get going.
True. Talking from experience, I'm very bad with the camera. I've got camera phobia, if that exists. So if you see me talking like in person, I'm very confident. But the camera, I switch off. So it's also one of
it calms you down.
Yes, it humbles me. So starting these lives also, I made a choice, I made a decision. Let me start doing this. This will also help me with my confidence in front of a camera. Because I've got one of my mentors who always tells me, Nate, why don't you do YouTube videos? Sometimes you talk sense, sometimes you can even do your makeup tutorials on YouTube. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
So I've been making excuses for a very long time.
All new skills take time to make them smooth and good. And those who are not afraid to be terrible are the ones who get going. To a point where sometimes the people we think are talented, they are not talented. They are disciplined. And they are just not afraid of starting. You can learn almost anything. This includes playing instruments. It includes writing. It includes spoken language. It includes a whole lot of things. Just be ready to get out there, make the mistake, and get going. And as you do it several times, you see that you may not be the best, whatever, but when you do it, people say it's nice. And that's what you just need. And you get going from there.
Thank you so much for that. I think after this one, I'll have to listen to it, maybe after a week.
Yeah, you learn a lot by doing that. Yeah.
So do we still have any more points on how to brand?
Then the last step is becoming a visual expert, the visible expert. Be the visible expert. If people invite you for an interview or a chance to write an article about something, go for it. Say what you know. Be the visible expert of your field. You have no idea how many opportunities come to those people who are interviewed in newspapers or on radio when there's something going on in the nation. Like, let's say, not so a good example, but let's say there's a drought ongoing in the nation, and farmers need to be advised what they can do to mitigate that situation. They invite some people to TV to explain. Those people do get a lot of business calls, a lot of things towards them because they are the visible experts in certain spaces. There are some professions that if I mention right now, you don't know anybody who does it. Not because they are not there, but because all the people in that industry are not branded properly. That's why for a season, it is, I think, still like that regarding software development in Zimbabwe, like programmers. They are very smart developers in Zimbabwe, but maybe 99% of them are not branded. That's why big companies are still getting software from India, still getting software from South Africa, when there are people in Harare who can do it better. The reason is that the Harare people are not branded. So they are not visible experts in their field. For that reason, they don't get the opportunities they should be getting. That's the
you remind me of last year I attended the Ignite Youth Awards. That was in December. So one of the speakers, it's Kedzi, I'm not sure of the surname, but he spoke about visibility. He spoke about how you're responsible for your own visibility. Don't put it on anyone. He gave an example. You get into a church or you get to a choir, and you actually notice that you can sing better than anyone there. So you're saying they wouldn't know if you don't showcase your talent. So you're saying be visible. You are responsible for your own visibility. And I believe this is my theme for this year. Be visible.
Nice. It's a nice one. Be visible and you show up. Opportunities follow.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Maybe the last part, we're only left with about 10 minutes. Maybe you can just dig deep into the issue of social media branding. Is it really that important, to brand yourself digitally? I can say I'm a good person in person. If you see me, I'm a good person, but I don't post anything on social media. So is it really important for me to start posting on social media, or I can do without social media or digital platforms per se?
In this age, again, it depends on the direction you want to take. Regarding that big goal that we set up in the beginning of this session, the first thing is that everybody needs to be visible. Let me just tell you maybe a story. Sometime last year in February, I guess, just before we went into the first lockdown, I got somebody came to see me about they've been trying to go to the US for several years, but they've not been getting a visa. And the reason was when the US embassy ran a Google search for their name, all the articles they saw, they were very terrible. And they were for them, they were very political. So they were trying to now, this person had left that life. You know how sometimes you work for this company and then you change and you go to the other company. So they changed everything, but their visibility and their footprint still had these old stories from many years ago, which were terrible and which caused these people to never give them whatever they were looking for. So being visible for the wrong thing is bad, right? Regarding where you want to go and what you want to do. So bad begins to be bad in reference with your goal and your mission, right? Then that's one. Number two is being not visible at all is also bad because it shows that you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if I'm making sense. How can you be the best chemical engineer in Zimbabwe, yet it's not known that you are the best? And the only way to prove that it's known that you are best is when it's out there and it's visible. And one of the things that happens is when people are even, like you're saying, that you are being invited to platforms for interviews and stuff, before these people agree that there's this Nedi who need to come, they check who Nedi is. All right. I was organizing 10 for 10 a few weeks ago, which was a good experience for me. Most of the people who were on that outline, I don't know them personally. I've never seen them. I've never shaken their hands. My picture of them is what I saw in the live video. But what convinced me to work with them is because when I searched for them, I got them as a reference. I looked for them online. I found things that convinced me that they are good at what they do. And then we worked together and we did a virtual conference, which was somewhat successful with an attendance of almost 1,000 people. Yeah, so it was good. And it was based on what? Their visibility and their social profile. So if you are good at what you do, then put it out there that you're good so that those of us who are looking can find it and can connect with you. So not being found is equally bad regarding to what you do. So if you are saying, well, I don't want to be public, then be careful about what you say instead of going off totally. Because also there's wrong things going on social media, depending on what you believe in. If you are not a church person, there are a lot of preachers on social media who are going to preach to you and they're not going to like it. If you are not a church person, there are a lot of anti-church people on social media who are going to take you away from church. I've been invited to other religions on social media so many times, so many people with different sexual preferences, they'll all be there talking to you or trying to talk to you, but you still have a choice to either respond to them or block them or do them. That's how it is. But you can't then say, because you have been invited to a religion which you don't believe in, you want to delete all your social media accounts, and you are not doing that. Rather be there and say the things that are going to be helpful with the direction you want to take. And don't really say your mind. That's what I would say. Don't really show what's happening in your house and in your bedroom. Just say the things that are going to help you make more money, get more clients, and get going. Instead of being so opinionated about a lot of things. That's what I think. If you're not trying to be a politician, for example, you may not have business commenting politics on social media. Not that you shouldn't, but you may never know how that may work for you or against you one day. That's what I think. And again, everybody's entitled to one opinion. So that would be my comment. So I think people should get there. And just a few tips on social media. Get a very nice looking picture for your profile. Very nice looking picture. It might be worth going to a studio or getting that your best style or haircut, whatever you want to call it, and a very nice picture of yourself. You should always look more important on social media than you are in the real world, if I can put it that way. So if you're looking for a job, for example, you must look like an executive already before you get your first employment. So that when people do on social media,
hello, your audio is breaking.
This
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. So you were talking about getting a
I was done.
That's the last thing that I actually.
So I was saying it's worth getting a good profile picture, which inspires confidence in the people who are listening and watching your profile, so that they are confident that you're good at what you do and you should be able to deliver. So people should see you and believe that, yeah, this guy or this lady can do what they're saying they can do, instead of having a picture which is maybe disconnected to what you're talking about, or a picture which doesn't inspire any confidence in line with the direction that you want to take. So really, if you're a sports person, then your sports pictures inspire confidence. If you are a personal fitness trainer, then your pictures in the gym or some place like that inspire that. If you're a professional accountant, if you take your profile and you're wearing shorts, you're wearing shorts, you're walking on the road as a professional accountant, that doesn't inspire confidence. That's what I'm trying to say. So get a nice headshot picture of yours, and together with that introduction we spoke in the beginning, that will make it work. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Maybe just to read some of the comments. There's one from Rosemary. Said, sometimes you have to do things for free in order to build your portfolio. Thank you for that. Powerful. And he also commented that it's difficult to be hungry and nice. Then from Kamchira Ibiza, she said, thank you very much. Enjoying the Wednesday talks and looking forward to applying some of the things discussed here. So these are some of the comments. So maybe from our viewers, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask in the next 1 minute. So whilst we are waiting for the questions from the viewers, I have a question myself.
Okay.
So you spoke about how you branded yourself as a pastor and as a digital marketer. So as for me, I struggle actually to brand myself because I've got lots of things that I'm doing right now. So I want to brand myself as an engineer. I also want to brand myself as someone who does women and youth empowerment. And I also want to brand myself as someone who does things such as makeup and stuff. So like those three. So sometimes it depends what mood I am in. So you discover that sometimes the makeup page, I actually post a lot. I do a lot of things on my makeup portfolio. Then I tend to forget, my engineering side and my youth empowerment side. Then later on, maybe I remember, oh, I'm an engineer. I should start doing this and that. So for me, there's always that, that struggle to balance my engineering side, my youth and women empowerment side. There's also that struggle to balance. Also, I've got an organization that I'm running as well. So in this talk show and a blog. So yeah, it's kind of too much. So what's your advice on that?
It's a reality. I think I also experienced the same thing. A person can only be able to focus naturally on a few things at a point, and we tend to do the things we like more than the things we are supposed to do. So at any point, even though you are passionate about different things, some of the passions become supposed to do at a point. So they begin to be neglected and get less attention. And those people who may be following you for that kind of lose touch with you. And they may not complain, but you just go down in their minds, as in, I don't know what happened to you, type of thing. So the solution to this is what is called is using a calendar. You have to be purposeful with your content. So what you do is you create a calendar and say that every Wednesday for you, you're going to have this talk show. And so before a month starts, you should have all your speakers set and all that. So this is, once you are done that you are good, you move on to the makeup thing. You say that every week we should show one tip. So what are the tips for the next 4 weeks? You list them up and the days that they're going to be released. Then you go to the organization, you have some kind of activity calendar. And what I would advise is that when you are in the mood to do makeup, you produce 8 episodes of makeup things, but be disciplined enough not to publish them all on that day. So this may mean that you don't need to do all your things maybe live. Some of them may do them as scheduled things. You schedule them, you do it offline and then schedule it so that on that particular time, it just goes live or it just goes on. So when you're in the mood for the youth empowerment, you create a whole lot of content for that, which you can then use in the days you're not in the mood. So sometimes I look at our social media posts and I'm also finding, oh, really, today this is what we are saying. Because we discussed it and fixed it maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And today I'm just not in the mood of that. But that's what's coming on because it's preset. This is not easy to do because it makes you busy when there's nothing happening. We become busy about next month when there's nothing happening. But at the same time, it's the only solution to consistency and maintaining that connection that you have with all the people who have liked you so much to follow you on social media.
Thank you so much, Mr. Trust. There's also one comment from Gerald Gobo. This was very informative. Thoroughly enjoyed listening. So yeah, we've come to the end of this session. I'm looking forward to another one. I still have got a lot of things that I want to ask.
No, that's fine. Thanks for having me. And thanks. I wish you the best with these talk shows. I hope that they take you forward and everybody listening and, an effort in improving people's lives is a good one, and I'm sure a lot of people appreciate it, and it's going to grow to become the big show that we are dreaming of.
Thank you so much. And to my viewers, thank you for tuning in. We've come to the end of this session. See you again next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Cheers.